I say a few words. Thank you.
The fight against evil knows no boundaries. Wherever evildoers lurk, the forces of good seek them out and bring vengeance to bear upon them. This is a battle that cannot be lost. The defenders of order must not sleep until those doers of dastardly deeds face the might of public opprobrium. So when some poor sap left his bin lid open because it was stuffed with rubbish because his useless council only collects the garbage every other week, the full majesty of the law was brought to bear upon him. He's a bus driver, the sort we're trying to encourage. Public transport, save the planet and all that. He sorts his rubbish for recycling, pays his taxes, raising a family, struggling to get by on £900 a month. But no sob stories or excuses can be allowed to muddy the waters. He left his bin lid ajar by 4 inches and he must pay the penalty. Recently, a man with a string of offences to his name was fined £220 for reversing the wrong way up a one-way street, knocking over a child, driving forwards over him again, and then leaving him to die as he drove away to try to persuade a mate to say that he'd been driving. The fine for leaving your bin lid open is exactly the same as he received. Who says life's cheap? The bin crime man didn't pay up, and now he has a criminal record for leaving his rubbish bin ajar. The same council will also fine you if you put your rubbish out before 7 o'clock in the morning. The whole world's gone crazy. We give control over our lives to the apparatus of government because we think they'll do right by us. That they will, in effect, be working for us. But, by stealth, it seems the tables have turned, and now we find ourselves working for them, dancing to their tune, in a glitter thong with nipple tassels on a greased-up pole. But still, we have our dignity. They can never take that. It's the perfect story for the Daily Mail, right, this bin man. And it just, it's like a snapshot of everything that's gone wrong. Isn't that right, Vizza?
You're always right, Nick.
Don't say that. Don't you start saying that. Enough people start saying it and I'll believe it. And what you don't want is a dope with his own talk show to start believing that he's right about everything. With his rubbish collected only once a fortnight. Gary, and by the way, when did that happen? When was that considered to be a good idea for a country that is lodged in the first world? Not some third world banana republic with, dogs sitting in the middle of the street. It's not like that. This is Great Britain. How come? Since when has rubbish it's been okay to only take it away every 2 weeks? No wonder that you're never more than, 10 yards away from a rat? Apparently that's true. With his rubbish collected only once a fortnight, Gareth Corkhill's wheelie bin was so full the lid wouldn't shut. And for that, the father of 4 finds himself with a criminal record. Magistrates convicted the 26-year-old bus driver after hearing evidence that the lid was for evidence. I mean, can you believe that it even got that far? Evidence. It is a picture of the offending lid. Exhibit A. They heard evidence that the lid was 4 inches ajar.
10 inches.
4. He was ordered to pay £210, a week's wages, after he declined to pay an on-the-spot fine imposed by the local council's bin police, who visited him wearing stab-proof vests and carrying photographic evidence of his crime. Good grief.
So they don't have police for regular Joes like us, but they do have bin police.
Can you believe it? I am in shock. I wouldn't pay an on-the-spot fine from some bloke who wandered around in a stab-proof vest with a photograph of my bin lid open. I'd tell him to sling his hook. Get off my land, I'd say. And he'd hear as he sped away. Can you imagine doing that in Texas? Yeah, blood would be all over the drive. To add insult to injury, he was told to pay a £15 victim surcharge to help victims of violence, despite there being no victim, and threatened with prison if he failed to pay. Rapists, murderers and other violent criminals who have earned a jail sentence rather than a fine are immune from the penalty. Yesterday the council, Copeland, can you believe that the first syllable is cope, when they seem to be coping so very poorly? Copeland in Cumbria said that Mr. Corkill's family had caused problems for the battle to reduce waste. I mean, that's just clutching at straws. I mean, when you've got the full spotlight of the press upon you, and you must know, I mean, any dope must know that this is ridiculous in the council. I mean, they must be holding their head in their hands going, oh, God, well, we'll have to defend it now, even though we're going to be made to look like fools in the national press. They were hoping that all this would blow over, no one would make a fuss, you know, if somebody comes around in an official uniform with a clipboard, and it's not in our nature to complain, is it? Apart from grumbling to each other. But not out loud. Not that, I bet they're stunned that this actually, I mean, the front page of the Daily Mail, the biggest selling, I was going to say quality newspaper. I'll say quality and wave my fingers in the air while I'm doing it, like that. Quality newspaper. Like I'm saying laser. Yes, this is just the very thing that people in Cumbria buy, and they'll be coughing up their gentleman's papirium. Papirium? Gentleman's papirium? You're looking at me with furrowed brows.
That's not a phrase I'm familiar with, I'm afraid.
Yeah, it's a sticky black unctuous paste that a gentleman spreads on his soldiers, if he can get them to sit still for long enough. His penalty compares with a typical on-the-spot fine of 80 quid given to shoplifters. It would have been 80 quid for shoplifting, £210 for leaving your bin lid. Not even off, just ajar, just so it wouldn't actually fit on the bin because the bag was too big inside, you know what I mean? So if he'd tried, he probably could have made the bin lid fit, because, you know, rubbish can be squashed. But he just, I mean, no reasonable person would think that anybody would object, so he didn't bother. Incredible. For failing to pay his fine, Mr. Cook... And well, honestly, would you, if some nerd knocked on your door saying, excuse me, I'm from the council, you owe us £80 because your bin lid wasn't securely affixed. They'd probably say it, something like that, wouldn't they? Dragging a dictionary around with them, see if they can't add syllables to their sentences. You turn up, bleep off. Throwing various exotic hand signals his way. There's one for you, Raj. So he refused to pay on the spot, so they, of course, increased the fine. Even after, for failing to pay his fine, he will now have a criminal record, which he will have to disclose if he applies for a job, credit, or a mortgage over the next 5 years. Quite right, too. His life is ruined because the council, basically because the council don't pick up his rubbish once a week. You know, like they should. Even after 5 years, he will have to reveal his crime if he applies for a job in the NHS, working with children, in a bank, or as a security guard. I can't believe I now have a criminal record for simply putting rubbish in my bin, he said. My only crime was to leave the lid slightly open. Now I may have to go for a job interview and be better than someone else, but the employer will see that officially I am a criminal. They won't know the details of what I did. They won't know that I only put a little bit too much rubbish in the bin. Mr. Corkill's trouble began last summer, when the 2 enforcement officers arrived at his... 2, not 1, 2. 2 for a 4-inch gap between the bin lid and the bin itself. 2 people. They cautioned him before issuing him a £110 on-the-spot fine for failure to close the lid of his wheelie bin. The stuff that arrives at your front door when your Gatling gun isn't loaded. Last week, Whitehaven magistrates convicted him, in his absence, of overfilling the receptacle used to dispose of waste. You see, it's exactly what I mean. Talk about adding syllables where none are necessary. Instead of bin, 1 syllable, very short word, quite punchy. So, for bin, they've got receptacle used to dispose of waste. Should we count them? Receptacle used to dispose of what? 10 syllables where 1 could do. These people are idiots. They added £100 towards prosecution costs on top of the original fine, together with a £15 surcharge designed to help victims of violence. By that they probably mean the people who have to come to the door to impose the fines in the first place. No wonder they have to wear stab-proof vests. Mr. Corkill, who takes home £900 a month, added, I would have been better off throwing my rubbish across the front garden. At least I would then have only received an £80 fine for fly tipping. It's outrageous what they've done to me. We got a leaflet, like everyone else, 9 months previously, explaining the new council policy, which also made it a finable offence for putting your bin out any earlier than 7 a.m. A curfew. For a bin. Why? I mean, suppose you've got to go to work. They only collect the rubbish once every 2 weeks, so you've got to make it that day, right? There's no forgetting, because imagine what it would be if you forgot that day. You'd have a month's worth of rubbish, and how could you squeeze that into a bin? Can you imagine the fine? You'd have to sell your car. So, if you had to go to work bright and early, suppose you do a job that you've got to be there at 8. You have to leave at 6:30. Well, that means you can never have your rubbish collected. Ever. Explain how you could get your rubbish collected if you have to leave the house before 7 o'clock in the morning. It's impossible. You couldn't do it. Yes?
Could you get a neighbour to put your bin out for you?
What, bin sit?
Neighbourhood bin.
He says, my wife and I put it in the recycling box and continued as normal. This is the leaflet that came around. He recycled it. He recycled the leaflet. Well, you should get points for that. He says, then this happens. What can I do? If I don't pay, they said I could go to prison. They also threatened to clamp my car and send the bailiffs round. We recycle everything we can, including plastics, cardboard, tins, glass, paper. We've got a black box that's always full. How about that? He's a model citizen. I don't recycle anything. It all goes into the bin and then goes into the giant receptacle used to dispose of waste that everybody else uses. Just, like everybody else. A spokesman for Copeland Council said, Mr. Corkill's recollection of the distance his bin lid was open was wrong, and it was more like 7 inches. When in a hole, stop digging. So the press actually having got a hold of this story, asked for a quote from the council. And instead of saying, oh, this has all been a big mistake, sorry about that, it was just, an overzealous community warden, something like that, we'll refund him his money and just pretend it didn't happen. He actually dug himself in deeper and said, well, of course, it wasn't 4 inches that his bin lid was open, it was 7 inches, as though that makes it more serious. You silly, silly people. 7:46. LBC Travel with Alan Joyce.
Thanks, Nick. The A23 in...
Hey, when did the first results from Pennsylvania come in? Isn't that exciting? It's actually more exciting than you-know-who against you-know-who. Every time I think I know who I'm going to vote for, they go and say something stupid, and I think, oh, right, I can't vote for you then. I think it's actually coming down to voting for... it's going to come down to, what do they call when you're voting not for the person that you want? Tactical voting. I'm going to have to vote for somebody who I don't particularly want to be in power in London, but it's just that they're more likely to rob the person that I really, really don't want to be in power in London of the job. That was vague enough, wasn't it? You couldn't not even with a microscope could you tell which way I'm going to vote in there. I think I obeyed all of the current and regular rules. Isn't that right? I've done very well. You're full of praise, Raj, as usual. I can rely on you for support. He hates
There'll
me.
be a present in the post.
He hates me so much. We're running a How Low auction at the moment. It's for an HP laptop. You can carry a computer around with you. What will they think of next? It's got a Celeron, an Intel processor in it. Bing bong, bing bong. It's got built-in wireless capability. It's got a webcam. You can stick a CD up it. It also has a DVD drive in it. And it's got a 120 gigabyte hard drive.
It is so hard.
It's a reverse auction. The person with the lowest unique bid wins. Text LBC plus your bid in pence if you would like to 88821. If it was a bid of, 8 pence, it would be LBC 8 to 88821. Bids cost £1.50 plus your standard network rate. Lines closed 7 p.m. Wednesday 23rd of April. Bidders must be over 16. See lbc.co.uk for full terms and conditions. We got Joe Parkinson, our show business editor, coming in about half an hour, something like that. She's been speaking to the very fabulous... What's his name?
Russell Brand.
Oh, no!
Russell Brand. He is fantastic. Has he said anything funny yet?
Apparently.
The number, by the way, 0845 6060 973. I hardly even know where to start. There was a lot of people saying a lot of things in the papers today, all of them very controversial. One was about Madonna, and it was an interesting article that Caitlin Moran wrote in the Times about Madonna. So I might get to that in a minute. There's some very controversial things on the front page of the Star, which will have got by everyone, about Heather Mills McCartney, or whatever she's currently called. None of which I'll be repeating on the air, but there is a cartoon inside. You know, you remember Heather Mills McCartney, don't you? And there's a woman, not Heather Mills McCartney, I hasten to add, a woman of the night, bending down to talk to a curb crawler who's driving by. A curb crawler says from inside his car to a lady of the night, "Can you pretend to be Heather Mills? I'm a masochist." Amused me. Then there was this kind of attack on the NHS by Claire Rayner. You know, the agony aunt? She used to be a nurse, apparently, and basically she's saying what an absolute shower they all are now. And wouldn't it be nice to, go back to how it was? And then there was a real dig at the sport of boxing. Hands up who likes boxing. You don't.
What's wrong with it?
What's wrong with it? Well, do you really want me to start?
Sure, go ahead.
OK, let me take this call first. Banstead. Hello, Charlotte.
Hello, Nick.
Charlotte.
Hello, how are you?
I'm super, thanks for asking.
Did you see a report in the paper today about Britain's top vet has caused uproar for saying that dogs should be banned from bedrooms?
Oh, this was yesterday, but the flack is still being felt today. Yeah,
in the paper today.
Right, quite right too. Dogs should be outside in the garden.
Well, I've got my two dogs, and they sleep in the kitchen.
Yeah, well,
I wouldn't let them in the bedroom. Apparently, the lady in one says she's got five dogs in her bedroom.
Well, that's a matter for her. I think kitchen is that's a bit disgusting, isn't it? Keeping the dogs in the kitchen, isn't that where you prepare your food?
Yeah, no, but it's no sleeping in there. But I wouldn't let them in the bedroom.
Right.
I mean, I keep my kitchen very clean.
Well, no, you don't. It's infested with dogs.
No, they sleep in there. They don't do, anything else in there. In their beds. They've got two beds.
Sure they do. How do you think a dog cleans itself?
Yeah, but it's not near my food.
It's in the kitchen.
Oh, Nick. Well, it's better than being in the bedroom. I wouldn't let it sleep on my bed.
Right. OK, well, I think it'd probably be better sleeping in your bedroom than in the kitchen. I mean, as long as it's not on your bed. On the floor would be all right.
All right. Now, so you
just
agree
don't
with
let
me?
it lick your face.
So you don't agree with this vet?
That
they can't sleep in the bedroom?
Well, I don't think dogs should be in the house. Dogs should be outside. Whatever happened to kennels? Whatever did happen to kennels? Snoopy had a kennel.
You can't put a dog out in the garden.
That's where dogs... Of course, that's where dogs live. Outside. I mean, if we hadn't tamed them, where do you think... A dog wouldn't build itself a brick shelter, would it? It'd be outside, under a bush somewhere.
Have you ever had animals?
Yeah, cats.
Cats? Well, they go out, don't they?
They're like dogs, but smarter.
Yes. I just wondered if anyone else agreed to they shouldn't go in the bedroom.
Yeah,
really?
Everyone should... Yes. Yeah, everyone, and I don't... It's just not really...
I wonder where... can I just say, I don't know if we can stand there, I wonder where the Queen's corgis go. The corgis. I wonder where they sleep.
Well, I'll throw it out there and we'll see if we can't get an answer, all right? Okay. Cheers, my dear. Ta-ta.
Bye.
The Queen's corgis almost certainly have...
their own wing, probably.
Yeah. They don't sleep in the Queen's bedroom. That is vile. I mean, their dogs are really dirty animals, aren't they? As are many of the people that own them. A sharp intake of breath all round. Victoria's looking furious. Obviously a dog owner. New whore, Henry.
I was just laughing.
Well, you've got to have a laugh, ain't you?
I haven't got a dog.
Good for you.
Yeah, good for me. Hey, if you want to observe the right to multiply tradition and give yourself a great big laugh at the same time. You know, poor old dustbin bloke.
Yeah.
I looked up the Copeland Council website.
Oh, yeah.
And they they must have had, like, urgent meetings that, hey up, or however they say it up there, everyone in country's laughing at us.
Yes.
And so so they put, like, this front-page bulletin on their website saying, waste prosecution information. And it's, you know, it's obviously been given to the council legal department to compose this.
Right.
And you know how, like, someone can write in a tone like, I was proceeding in
a northerly direction, yes. So it's all like that, is it? I'll tell you what, at this moment, Raj is considering actually looking it up on the not actually doing it, you understand?
Oh, right.
But thinking about doing it at some point in the future, you know, after the show's over.
Shall I give you the?
Yeah, go ahead. It won't do us any good, but go ahead and do it anyway.
Let's share the humour.
Yeah.
It's Copeland, BC. I suppose that's B for borough, C for council. So
Right.
Copeland, BC.
.org.
.gov.
.uk.
.uk.
Okay, good man. Thanks a lot. This is LBC 97.3.
We are gathered here today.
For you. So here's their website. A Copeland resident was given a warning for overfilling his bin on the 20th of July 2007. This resident already had a... This resident already had a larger 360-litre bin, which is 50% bigger than the standard Copeland wheelie bin. This is the Copeland Council's trying to cover themselves. We should cover them. Do you remember that guy that hired, or maybe it's just a farmer, he got a... What are you looking at me like that for, Victoria? You've got no idea what I'm going to say yet. Already you don't like it. I'm getting criticism for things I haven't even done yet. You believe that, Raj? No wonder I cry myself to sleep at night. Where was I? Oh, yeah, do you remember that farmer who had a beef with his bank, and he got one of those muck-spreading lorries? How fantastic. Wouldn't you love one of them? And he sprayed ordure all up the side of the bank. I mean, he covered it. Talk about pebble dashed. It was awful. Anyway. Following this warning, says the council, we also contacted the resident to discuss how they could reduce the amount of waste they produce. We did not receive a response to this request. Well, quite blooming right. Mind your own business. Just come and collect it, you morons. Anyway, on and on and on it goes. The council, like many local authorities, aims to reduce... Can you believe they speak like this in Cumbria? Isn't that incredible? Like many local authorities, aims to reduce the amount of waste it sends to landfill and offers a range of recycling facilities to help our residents do this. We must also enforce our waste policies to ensure that people do reduce the amount of waste they produce. If we do not follow the waste minimisation agenda... the waste minimisation agenda. You see, yeah, this is how bored these people are. They've got nothing to do than think up ludicrous phrases like that. Nobody would speak in that manner out loud. You'd look at them like they were mad. If we do not follow the waste minimisation agenda that is being enforced nationally, then we risk passing on major fines to all Copeland households. So they're doing it for our benefit.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir. May I have another? Here is Bexley. Hello, Fiona.
Hi.
Fiona.
I had to ring up because as I jumped in the car to pick my son up from football, I turned the radio on and heard... Well, tell me I got this right. I heard a woman saying that she lets her dog sleep on the bed.
Well, it does happen, yeah.
That's just disgusting. So anyway, then I heard you go on to say, shouldn't dogs sleep outside?
Yes.
And you're right. I've got two dogs. They sleep outside. They've got a kennel. Their job is to guard the place while I'm asleep, and that's what they do.
There you go, of course. Now, the dogs don't think, oh, gosh, I wish we were inside, do they?
No, I don't think so. I mean,
of course not.
Occasionally they're allowed over the threshold and in the kitchen, but it's like a big sort of farmhouse. It's not like a, they're not under my feet while I'm cooking.
Right.
And that is it. If they even thought about going anywhere else in the house, I think I'd freak. And the thought of the two smelly things up on my bed.
Ugh.
Oh, no, I just couldn't even bear it. probably everyone's thinking, oh, she mistreats them, how awful. No, they're nice and clean, well fed and cared for, but they live outside. That's their job.
Well, that's where dogs live, outside. Yeah. It's this silly, it's, I don't know, it's people treating their dogs like they're
like their children.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I don't even let my children sleep in my bed. They've got a kennel outside as well.
Quite right too, Fiona. All right, thanks very much.
Thanks.
Cheers. See, now, that's exactly right. She lives in a farmhouse, she said. And farm people, you go into the country and farm people won't have the dogs in their house because they're, wandering around in the mud and they got fleas all over them and they're disgusting and they lick themselves. It's vile. They don't want them in the house. They outside. That's where dogs roam. They love it outside. I mean, you go near a park with a dog that's been kept indoors all day, and what does it do? It starts wriggling around, and it's like it can't wait to get out. They love it outside. Smells are outside. Love rooting about, like a dog does. Inside, it's all perfumed and. They can't go over here, and you can't sit on that, and can't wee in the corner, and what can you do? Is what a dog's thinking. Outside, it's like the world is its oyster. Here is Waltham Cross. Hello, Pip.
Hiya.
Pip.
Well, I think my dog's got the best of both worlds. Fortunately, she doesn't have to be like a thug dog and keep on guard during the night. But she comes out riding with us. She loves rolling in duck poo. But at night, and don't forget she's clean. She has the roam of the house and she gets right in my bed. So I'm sure everyone's stomach's heaving. But
you let your dog roll in duck poo.
Oh yeah.
And then it sleeps in your bed.
Oh, yeah, but she's obviously bathed afterwards. She hates that, but that's the deal. And if you actually knew how much a human sheds skin and God knows what during the night, I think it's quite a fair deal. And it's good for your immunities anyway. But she's my bitch, and we're inseparable, and we go everywhere together, so she has the best of both worlds.
Right. Raj is my bitch. He didn't like that one bit. OK, well, thanks for that vile snapshot of your home life, Pip. We're all really feeling bilious now. A dog rolls in duck poo and then has the run of the place.
How does it identify it as from a duck?
Well, it follows a duck around and waits for the inevitable, probably. You know what dogs are like. They love a bit of it. Romford. Hello, Glenn.
Nick, good evening.
Glenn.
This man that's been done for overfilling his bingo, help him.
Guilty.
I wonder how vindictive this council are going to be. Bearing in mind, I've only got to consider this fellow a terrorist. Therefore, they can bug his phones and his emails and
you're
the
right.
very air that he breathes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, would he ever have to contest a parking ticket? What chance will he stand? And if in a few years he ever decides he wants to extend his house or something where he needs planning permission, I mean, how much chance is this fella going to get? Who do these people think they are? And how have we allowed this? How have we allowed this to happen over the years? I've got a meeting with our local council on Thursday. They don't have a committee anymore. They have a cabinet.
Really?
Seriously. I thought that was something only the government had, or something you stuck China in at home, But I mean, these pretentious whatsits with our money, and we've allowed this to happen. One of their great things is they talk about diversity. Well, they're encouraging divergence here, aren't they? I mean, we are going to go our separate ways in the end, but with the full force of the law behind the council that we've invented.
It's kind of, it's a bit ironic, really, that only the people that are law-abiding are going to be the ones that are paying all these fines, because the people who, the people who just throw their rubbish into the hedgerows, they don't get caught.
No.
The people who drive around in cars with false number plates, or who just ignore the tickets that they get, and there's some people driving around who've got six-figure penalties, and they just don't pay them. So the people who are actually lawbreakers, they're the ones that just wander around scot-free without consequences to whatever it is that they do. Us poor saps who are trying to do right, We're the ones that that are getting abused.
Well, spot on. I mean, it seems as though, if as you say, if you're law-abiding, you're on the electoral roll, you pay your rates and that sort of thing, you're considered a cash cow up and down this country by anybody that wants to take a pop at you.
Kind of a target, yeah.
I mean, for example, this meeting I'm going to on Thursday, I think I've been invited purely because I'm white, middle-aged, working class, and a minority. Now, before anybody sort of jumps up and down about the word minority, it's because I'm stuck in a wheelchair, and I think I think I've been invited along purely for that reason. And the documents that they produce, you talk about gobbledygook. There's a bit here they call it interpreting and translation. I can't understand it. I need an interpreter to tell me what they're trying to tell me. Seriously, it is complete and utter nonsense.
Yeah, well, every organisation has its own...
Yeah, but Nick, we're paying these people
well, yeah,
to do this. I mean, and, you're talking about dogs and how repulsive they are. At least dogs want to please people. These people want to please nobody other than themselves, their salaries and their pension funds, and they're getting away with it, because it would appear that even, if this heinous crime of actually overfilling your bin can lead to a criminal record, what chance have we got with anybody else? From let's say a parking attendant upwards. If they want to give you a ticket now, they don't even have to slap it on your car.
Yeah, that is a bit of a shocker, isn't it?
They can do it through binoculars.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So what's this meeting for? You going to?
Oh, I can't. I'm not going to bore. Well, it's to do with the council and the fact that they want to reach out to minorities and so forth. And I'm considered a minority because of the circumstances I've just mentioned. Yeah. But the documents that they produce are so lavish. Or in a language, I'm sorry that. I mean, I get the Times every week, albeit the Angling Times, and it comes out tomorrow. But so I can read a bit, but this I do not understand.
Well, I think it's like every organisation likes to have its own language that fools and keeps apart everybody who's not part of their organisation. Doctors talk in their own little language, and sort of lawyers and councils like to do that too, because it empowers them, because you can't understand what they're saying.
True, but doctors are qualified. What do these people qualify for other than to spend our money? And who says they're even qualified to do that properly?
We've sleepwalked into giving them control over our lives. Like I said at the beginning, we used to think that they were working for us. The council, the people who are working for us. Now it's the other way around. And when that happened, nobody's really sure. But while we were asleep, they took over.
It ought to be led by a team of mutleys, because at least mutleys will roll over, show you their bellies and wag when you've done something right, like pay them or fill the bins or something like that.
Right. OK, well, listen, at that meeting, I would take some, bake them a cake, something like that, keep them sweet. All right, Glenn?
Mogadon.
Thanks very much. Yeah, that's right, crumble some mogadons into their soup. It's 8:15. LBC Travel with Karen Mercer.
There are major delays in the Brixton area.
Fabulous.
It's Joe Parkinson.
Just grabbing a microphone.
Take a mic, any mic.
Any mic you like.
That'll do.
Is that all right?
That sounds great to me.
Don't you myself.
No, you've been, stick your thing in there.
Sorry, it's a bit rushed.
Now, you've been talking to one of my favourite people in the whole wide world. I think he's so great.
Yeah, I know. Well, I thought, because I'd been speaking to the person that you love the most, I'd come and tell you what he was like.
Right. OK. Russell Brand, what's he like?
Well, I mean, I'm not like, I'm not one of these girls that really fancies him.
Thank God for that.
I know. A lot of my friends do.
I think girls only fancy him because he keeps saying that he has a lot of sex, and it's one of those things, it's almost a subconscious thought that, if he has a lot of sex, then he must be desirable, therefore I must fancy him.
No, I know, because what is actually fanciable about him?
Nothing at all. You've got to be kidding me. I mean, he squeezes himself into clothes that he's obviously too fat for a start. He doesn't appear to own a mirror or a tape measure. You're not that size, mate. Pick a bigger size. And, just his hair. What's going on with that hair?
It's horrible. I hate the hair. I really hate the hair. I mean, so when I seen him today, he's wearing this long black dress thing with bare feet. So he's back in London to promote this film called Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
He's wearing a dress.
He's wearing a dress.
That's my problem with him in a nutshell.
Yeah.
He's trying too hard. Everything about him seems to be an act, including when he's not supposed to be on stage. It's just all... And if you're the same off stage as you are on, then where's the person? I don't understand.
Do you not think he could be just naturally like that? You know, he does talk. I mean, he seems to continuously talk like that. You never hear him.
Nobody can continuously talk like that without putting in great effort.
Yeah.
No one. Oscar Wilde couldn't do it. He certainly couldn't do it.
But he's a very energetic young man. He's definitely got his mind works overtime, I think. Well, I get the feeling from him anyway.
Yeah.
He's just naturally just one of those people that just doesn't ever... He's never off. He's always on.
But then, of course, if he's talking to you being a representative of a media organisation, then he is, by definition, on.
Yeah.
Yeah, while you're there.
Yeah, and that's the only thing I've ever really experienced of him, and apart from seeing him on TV. And watching him in the film. And actually, in this movie, he plays this English rock star.
Yeah.
The movie's called Forgetting Sarah Marshall. And it's a Judd Apatow film. Do you know Judd Apatow?
Who he?
His films like The 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Oh, the gross-out comedy king.
Yeah, and he does Knocked Up and Superbad, and he's sort of like the man of the moment.
Yeah, I haven't seen
comedy.
any of these films. Don't some of them feature Adam Sandler?
No.
Right.
No, they feature mainly that guy whose name has just gone from me. Steve
Carell.
Well, Steve Carell's in The 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah.
And there's the big guy that's in Knocked Up, who plays, Knocked Up, he gets that girl pregnant.
No, I haven't seen any of these films.
Oh, I didn't give it. Anyway, this guy's quite hot stuff, so for him to pick, what's-his-face, Russell, to go in his film, then it was quite a big deal, and he's now living in LA, making a big name for himself out there. He's going on all the chat shows, and he's getting slightly famous over there. But the last time I spoke to him was for his Bookie Wook. I know you love the title of that. And I actually said, I don't like your hair. It annoys me, actually. I wish you'd brush it, or get it cut.
Or wash it. That would be nice.
Yeah, or wash it. Actually, surprisingly, it isn't dirty. It does smell quite nice. I think he probably washes...
You smelt his hair?
He's one of these people that sort of forces himself on you, so you don't really have a choice but to smell it.
I think that you have grounds for legal action.
I mean, it was sort of a cuddle stroke.
Say no more.
I know.
I'll represent you.
I know. He was pretty terrible, actually, when I saw him yesterday. He was all over me like a rash. Not nice. Anyway, so I said, look, are you ever going to get your hair cut? Because the last time you said to me you'd get it cut if a film role demanded it.
Yeah.
It's going well in Los Angeles. Keep it off a pop.
Good brand.
Doesn't it?
Has a tape been sped up? It sounds like... It sounds... I don't know, just
so he does sound different then?
Well, I suppose so.
Yeah, different to when he does his stand-up anyway.
Right.
I spoke to him about his Bookie Wook. Because remember when I came back and I'd been to the British Book Awards and I said that he'd won the award for Best Autobiography.
Can you believe it?
I know. It was very popular though. It was #1 for a very long time.
Well, I think supplanting Jordan, so no great shakes that.
Well, she's still #1 now.
Right.
She's overtaken him again with Ford.
I rest my face.
Yeah. Well, these awards are called the Nibbies because it's sort of like the nib of a pen.
Right, Nibbies. Close. Just one letter out.
Yes. And I said to Russell, I was talking about this, and see, I think this is quite funny. I don't know if this makes you laugh.
Right,
Russell talking about the title of the award.
I'm very happy about that award. I was very proud.
No, not so far.
Funny. Oh dear, I thought that was quite amusing.
No.
And then I said, are you making it into a film? And he said, what, the tiny? And I was like, no, the book. But he is actually turning this book, so there's going to be a lot more of him around, Nick. You might have to get to like him, or not.
Well, he was on the front page of the culture section, which is the part in the Sunday Times that you keep all week, because it's got the TV in it. I had to rip it off.
No.
There was no way that I'm going to have that man looking at me from my coffee table all week long.
With a big hair.
Yes.
Big messy hair. And his skinny jeans that are too tight. Well, they are making this book into a film. It's going to be called A Filmy Wilm. Apparently, something along those lines. And I'd heard some ridiculous story. I read it in a newspaper, so maybe I should have realised that it wasn't true. That Daniel Radcliffe, who's Harry Potter, Daniel Radcliffe, would be playing him as a child.
We just said that for a laugh. Daniel Radcliffe.
That was just an example.
I can't believe you kept. Well, you've got it on tape there.
It's on tape.
I rest. Like the case for the prosecution rests. Yeah.
Yeah, he is what everyone thinks. He is, especially where ladies are concerned. Everyone I've spoken to who interviewed him, he had some sort of line, or he was like, "You're beautiful, you are." All right, darling.
Right, isn't that
Gets a bit
repellent?
wearing, I know, it's horrible.
Yeah.
Especially when you know that he said it to everybody. And
It's
you read all the stories in the newspapers about him.
Just listening to it, I feel unclean.
Do you? I shouldn't have left that in, should I? I just
No.
wanted you to hear it, Nick.
Right, okay.
So now you have.
To feel your pain.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Right.
And so it went on, and then we were talking about he is going to have quite a successful Hollywood career, I think.
Unless he gets sued into a black hole in space first.
Could happen.
Yeah.
Especially in LA.
Mhm.
They sue over anything.
Oh, yes.
And so he has to be careful, but...
So there is hope.
Yeah, you never know. He says he's cleaned up his act, though, and, he's clean from everything. He's just into yoga now, apparently.
What, not Kabbalah?
Well, that'll probably be next.
Yeah.
It'll probably be next. But yeah, no, the reviews of this in magazines like the Rolling Stone and the New York Times, very good, giving him the thumbs up.
He's not in it very much, though, is he?
No.
Doesn't he play a very, very minor part? Have you seen this film?
I have seen it, yes.
Right.
He's in it a fair bit. It's called Forgetting Sarah Marshall. This guy's girlfriend, Sarah Marshall, dumps him and proceeds to go out with Russell Brand's character, who's a British rock star, and he takes her away to Hawaii. They meet up with the ex. The ex finds it all rather distressing. Ross was in it a fair bit, and he does get a big write-up in the magazines, which, you know, in America, if it's not a name they don't know, they tend to just ignore it because it's a Brit who they've never ever heard of.
Right.
And they are singling him out.
Can he act?
Yeah, he can. I
Really?
mean, he doesn't just play himself.
Oh, yeah?
He probably plays like a quieter version of himself.
Right.
But he's in a film next with Adam Sandler. He's filming it at the moment. It's called Bedtime
there's
Stories.
two reasons not to see it.
You hate Adam Sandler?
Yes.
I'm not a fan. I liked Wedding Singer, but that was probably it.
Is he really that stupid, or does he act that? He can't be that stupid. No one's that stupid.
Well, that's the same with, like, you know, is it the same with Russell? Is he really like that, or...
Yeah.
The pair of them probably get on.
Oh.
Or not. He told me about them, they've been mucking about on set together.
He sits around the set like a pirate, waving a grape.
So there you go, Nick. Do you feel like that's made your evening, or really not?
No, I'm not. My opinion hasn't been changed. It seems
No.
that he doesn't actually say anything funny. It's just that what he says it in a funny way, putting voices on. But the content of what he's saying isn't. If you wrote it down, it's not actually funny. I just don't get it. But then the stuff that is massively successful that I don't get, I could write a list that would go from here to the moon.
To eternity.
I'm out of touch with the general public. I don't get what they get.
You don't. You're not out of touch with everything, not the normal things. It just seems that the sort of like the movies and popular culture.
Well, yeah, everything. Yeah,
Pretty
everything.
much it, isn't it?
So, you've got a busy week coming up.
Next week I've got the Wachowski brothers. Now, do you know about them?
The Makowski brothers.
Wachowski brothers.
Wachowski brothers.
They're
Who
the
are they?
people that did The Matrix.
Oh my
with
God!
Keanu Reeves.
Of course. Is that how you pronounce their name? I had no idea.
Wachowski. Yeah, they've got a new film
I
out.
thought it was Wachowski brothers. Okay,
Wachowski.
Wachowski brothers. I just saw The Matrix the other day. It is possibly the second greatest film ever made. Am I right?
You've only just seen it.
No, I saw it for the umpteenth time.
Oh,
just the
okay.
other day, having not
Matrix
seen it for a
1, I
good
don't
long
like
while.
Matrix 2 and 3.
Yeah, ask them when you see them what happened to 2 and 3,
I will.
because they were terrible.
I will.
Having produced one of the greatest movies of all time. So that'll be interesting. Okay, well, come and chat to us about that.
I will do.
Thanks very much, Joe. This is LBC 97.3.
This
6060973. This is LBC 97.3. It's 8:30.
Get back to it.
And I know that a lot of people will be thinking, oh yeah, well, Russell Brand's a genius and you're rubbish, right? Every time I mouth disapproval of Russell Brand, people start hyperventilating. Oh, he's like the greatest thing ever. Well, yeah, everybody to their own. Not everybody can be liked by everybody, right? I mean, people that don't like me. Can you believe that, Victoria? Laughing at me, she is. You know, we were on opposite each other when I was doing Saturday Night. Russell Brand and I were on opposite each other. He with the might of Radio 2 behind him, with adverts on the television for his show, with unending coverage in the tabloid press, and his own television shows. And I still beat him. There you are, you see.
Have a muffin to celebrate.
Oh, I'd love one. It's Totteridge. Hello, Giselle.
Hello.
Giselle, my belle.
How are you, my dear?
I'm great, mate.
I'm glad you beat Russell Brand.
Just by a little bit, but, you know.
Hey, every little bit counts.
Exactly.
Boxing.
Boxing.
I think it's atrocious.
Yeah, I haven't really given it much...
It's a little bit like bear baiting. It's a little bit like sitting in a Roman arena and watching people hack themselves to death. I know people don't specifically die, but if you think about it...
They do. They actually do sometimes.
That is, sometimes they do. If you're giving yourself brain damage, kidney damage, liver damage, rib damage, I mean, it's barbaric. I don't understand how people can sit there and cheer. Don't they actually think of what's going on to those people in the ring who you're cheering as one hits the other?
Well, I think that they're partly glad that it's not them that's being hit. That's part of it.
I don't really think they think about it.
There was an interesting article by a chap in the Mail today. So you're not a fan?
No, I think it's atrocious. And all those famous people who sit by the ringside cheering on. It's not the same as a football match. I mean, seriously, if you look at all these boxers, famous boxers, every single one of them has ended up with some sort of neurological disorder. They're either brain damaged or they've got Parkinson's, they've got kidney problems. I mean, it's the most ridiculous thing.
To me, it just looks like it looks like stupid poor people hitting each other for the amusement of smart rich people.
Vacuous rich people who've got nothing better to do with their time.
Right. Okay. Thanks very much, Giselle.
Bye.
Cheers for that. So you like boxing then, Raj?
Yeah, I don't think it's bad.
Right. Have you boxed?
I've not, no.
Not been hit in the head a lot?
No, but
So there's no excuse.
Well, you have to remember that it's not just two random people off the street getting into a ring and throwing their fists at each other.
Yeah.
There is skill involved.
Of course.
I would say that boxers are probably amongst the top of the in fitness levels. They're probably at the top.
Absolutely, I would agree with that. Yeah.
And they're also covered in a lot of muscle. So you...
How much exactly?
Well, I wouldn't know, but
lots.
A heavyweight is about 16 stone,
right,
and most of that would be muscle.
Yeah.
So if you
unfortunately, so if you hit somebody, yes, about the body, yeah, they are trained to.
They're trained to accept the hit.
Exactly. Unfortunately, most of the hits aren't aimed at the body; they're aimed at the head. It doesn't matter how muscular you are. Your head is basically a giant coconut in which swims your brain. It's actually suspended in liquid. And when you get hit violently, or what happened to me was I went on a roller coaster, and I had my head shaken about, and I haven't felt the same since. I feel like I've been. I did 3 rounds with the perpendicular drop at this thing in Spain that I went to, and I felt as though somebody taken hold of my head and they'd shaken it up. But you know what that feels like. What is essentially happening when you get hit is that your head snaps back, but your brain doesn't, because it's suspended in liquid, so it bashes against the front of your skull if your head goes back, and then bashes against the back of your skull. It's not still inside your head, it's being thrown about a lot. That's what it doesn't matter how muscly you are, there's nothing that will mitigate that. Your brain is actually being softened at the front and the back, or side by side, whichever way you're being hit. Here's this article in the Mail today. It's about the Calzaghe match, and the photograph that was printed a lot with Arnold Schwarzenegger is in this snap, Tom Jones, Philip Green, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Sly Stallone, Simon Cowell, Bruce Willis, they're all there. There they sat in comfort of their Las Vegas ring seats, or ringside seats, the rich, the beautiful, the famous, and the ugly at heart. Film stars, a singer, and a smattering of tycoons, united by their millions and their moral vacuity. They howled their encouragement as 2 brave fighting puppets, one Welsh, the other American, pummeled every kind of hell out of each other. With every blow that cut into the black American's face, they roared approval. With every combination of punches that stunned him, they rejoiced. When he fought back, they fell silent. What did they want to see? They wanted to see Welsh fists driving into the American's kidneys, his eyes purpled with blood, gloves pounding into his temples and crashing into his jaw. You liking this so far? And they hoped, although they didn't get it, to see the American left gasping and broken on the canvas after a knockout. So let's not mince words. By wanting all that, what Catherine Zeta-Jones, now a Hollywood wife and ludicrously wrapped in the dragon of her Welsh flag, Andrew Lloyd Webber, Tom Jones, Top Shot boss Philip Green and pop guru Simon Cowell really wanted was to see one courageous working-class Welshman inflict brain damage on the American in the boxing ring above them. Which is kind of what that nice lady on the phone just said, right? The smile on your face is dissipating, Raj. I hope that you are thinking up some counter-arguments that don't involve hit me in the mouth. He says, without wishing to impugn the courage of Joe Calzaghe and his opponent Bernard Hopkins, and in my eyes there's no one braver in sport, none more noble, if deluded, than a boxer, it was only a great night because, so far as we are aware, neither man suffered permanent physical damage. But of course, we can't know that for sure. It might be years, even decades, before signs of brain damage are discovered. Muhammad Ali, once a hero of mine and thought by many to have been the greatest boxer ever, didn't begin to show symptoms of the damage done to his brain until years after he'd finished fighting. Now that once wonderful athlete stumbles around, the victim of Parkinson's syndrome. Is any man the same after a career in boxing? Not many. The constant battering boxers receive causes chronic brain damage, sustained cumulatively over the career, even if a single bout appears to have done them no harm. The American Medical Association says... I'll give you the statistic in a minute. You see if you can guess what it is. What percentage of all boxers who have more than 20 professional fights are left with permanent brain damage?
34.
75%. That's almost all of them. More than 20 professional fights, 75% of all boxers are left with permanent brain damage. Others put the figure as high as 80% of all boxers. The British Medical Association, whose members have seen the consequences of this sport, have long maintained that it should be banned. The Professional Boxers Association and the British Boxing Board of Control reject the medical evidence of lasting harm, but they would say that, wouldn't they? After all, it's their livelihood. Yes, there are other sports in which participants die, but no other sport does virtually every participant end up brain damaged for life. Can you think of any? I mean, footballers are brain damaged before they start. Oh, well, it was, like a game of two halves, Harry. That's how they were before they started sport. That's not what sport's done to them. And in no other sport is the sole aim of the contest to batter a man into unconsciousness. Doubtless those who are watching in Las Vegas would, if asked, resort to the argument that boxing provides a unique opportunity for working-class boys to better themselves. That's nonsense. Very few boxers scrape more than a meagre living from it. And if there's a sport that consistently gives working-class boys the chance to earn fortunes and escape their upbringing, it's football, not boxing. Why, by the way, is football such a working-class sport and rugger such a middle-class sport, even today? I mean, surely the comprehensive still do football and working-class schools only do rugby and cricket, like it was when it were grand when I were a lad. What are you looking at me like that for, Victoria?
No, I was contemplating what you
contemplating,
said. I
really?
I was trying to think maybe rugby's more expensive to put on or something like that. But
Check her ears under her hair for an iPod. She's probably in there listening to Pat Metheny.
They play football at Eton.
Well, they play a funny game of football at Eton, don't they? There's this thing called the Wall, but I think that's just a once-yearly event, isn't it?
No, that's a different sport. They play football
Actual
as
football.
We know it.
Right. How do you know?
Because I saw William playing it once.
Oh, really? What, up close and personal?
No, just on TV.
Oh, right.
That's as close as I can get to them.
Well, quite right. It says, the sad fact is that whatever boxers achieve, and no matter how much they earn, they pay too high a price for their success. The list of those young men who have fallen victim to boxing risks is too long to be ignored. 2 young boxers died following fights in Las Vegas itself, within weeks of each other just 3 years ago. And do you remember Michael Watson, who was beaten so severely by Chris Eubank in '91 that he spent 40 days in a coma and was confined to a wheelchair? Did that carousing band of billionaires and millionaires who lit up Las Vegas last Saturday think about any of this? I'm sure they didn't. They were indulging in their most primal instincts. They were enjoying watching pain and physical damage being inflicted under the guise of sport. Many people, including myself, says Ray Connolly, wish boxing to be banned. But that clearly isn't going to happen anytime soon. In the meantime, if we could strip the false glamour from it and concentrate on the reality of what really happens to those young men in the ring, then maybe it will begin to decline. But as long as it's glorified by celebrities such as Catherine Zeta-Jones and Tom Jones, it'll flourish. The example they set is appalling. Maybe on their way back from Las Vegas to homes which few boxers could afford, one or two of them raised their glasses to Joe Calzaghe's points victory, might reflect on the thuggery they paid so much to watch. Perhaps one of the billionaires, Philip Green or maybe Lloyd Webber, could see the error of their ways. Instead of being at the ringside for the next legalised assault, they might make massive donations to the neurosurgery department of the Royal College of Surgeons. It's the least they could do. I think that says it in a nutshell, doesn't it? Any comeback?
Does it say what the how much brain damage they sustained?
Well, it very much depends on the individual, doesn't it? I mean, any amount of brain damage you would think would be bad, unless you're a DJ. Hey, in which case you could you could fully function with most of your brain in a cup beside you.
Well, whilst I would agree that, yes, it can be a dangerous sport, I would still say don't ban boxing completely, simply because...
you like it?
Well, if nothing else, even if you don't ever get into a ring and fight with someone, the training alone would... I think they should actually introduce that sort of boxing training, as in punch bags, something like that.
Right.
Because if you introduce that into school, one, it would teach discipline, and second of all, it would help curb the obesity crisis in our schools.
Right, well that's just exercise.
Yeah, but it's more vigorous exercise.
Yeah, don't they call it boxercise? In fact, I think that's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what middle-class people call it.
Yeah, along with jazzercise. In fact, that would enliven many a boxing match if they played jazz while it was going on. Wouldn't that be great? You're imagining it now, aren't you? Not that great. 8:45. LBC Travel with Karen Mercer.
Well, the A23 in Brixton is still closed and
I can't stand him.
Sky Heroes season is now underway. Whoever your hero is, whether it's Johnny Wilkinson or Jimi Hendrix, you can enjoy them all on Sky. And to celebrate, LBC are giving you the chance to win Sky Plus for a year, including a Sky Plus box, a mini-dish, installation, and a year's subscription to Sky World, Sky's top entertainment package. You also get a 32-inch Samsung LCD TV, HD, flat screen TV. That's too many letters. What is it? It's a Samsung HD LCD TV. Coming up on Sky's Heroes season, there are things like Paul McCartney live in Red Square, Bear Grylls, Alaska, He's Crazy, Singing in the Rain.
Now, ta-te-tee-to-too.
Ta-te-tee-to-too.
So to win this prize, make sure you're listening to Nick Ferrari at breakfast all this week here on LBC 97.3, the Sky Heroes season. Now then, the number 0845 6060 973. I'm kind of surprised that nobody... I thought that just the very mention of the word boxing would just get people screaming and shouting and rushing to the phone. No? OK, they didn't like that one. How about Big Brother? That's coming up. Is everyone excited? Hang on. Oh, there we go. For some reason, I've torn this article in half, so I've only got half of it. Oh, dear.
Stupid.
Oh, I know, I'm so stupid. This year's Big Brother will see more housemates than ever, sparking a record number of punch-ups. There you are, you see? See how this fits in? A whopping 16 wannabes will enter the famous telly house on launch night. I can't believe that the Sun hasn't been all over this. Isn't the Sun and the Mirror, aren't they usually just frothing at the mouth with your Big Brother stories? I only saw this in the Daily Star. And the Daily Star, no offence, is the one that I look at last, even after the Guardian. And the Guardian usually is the only paper that is unmolested and still in its original, with all the inserts still in it. No one touches it. Much as the experience of it in the newsagents. Everybody just goes by it and picks up something else. Anyway, 16 wannabes will enter the famous telly house on launch night. They'll be the most hot-headed housemates the show has ever seen. Now, remind me, last year, What happened? Who won? I decided to not waste my life in watching this rubbish anymore. As a lot of people decided.
I'm just going to say John or Dave, because they're fairly common names.
Was it John or Dave?
Probably.
I was rooting for them, yeah.
Or Sharon, I don't know.
It was that gurning bloke with the Tourette's, wasn't it?
No, I think he was the year before. I'm sure it was a bloke called Brian who's turned up on Harry Hill occasionally.
Brian?
Yeah, I think it was.
Oh, Harry Hill said something funny. There's another bloke that I just don't see. He's the guy with the comedy collars. I've thrown that away too. Oh, all the good stuff goes. If I don't use it within a week, then I'll just throw it away. Never mind. He said something very funny. You'll have to take my word for it. Security staff have been warned to be ready for bust-ups to get out of control. The show's source said, get ready for Big Brother. With so many people waiting to burst through those doors at Elstree TV studios, it'll be like the January sales at Next. Next? Is that still going?
Yeah, and I think their sales start at 5 a.m.
What?
With queues as well.
Next? That seems so rooted in the 80s to me. I mean, Next was all about the 80s, wasn't it? It was all about people with filofaxes, and it was part of that whole new city thing. They've survived. No one can believe it. How about that? Are you a Next fan, Victoria?
No.
Do they even do women's clothes?
I think they do, but no.
Are you a fast clothes fan?
What do you mean by fast clothes?
You know, fast fashion, where you go in and a suit costs you £2 because you're supposed to just throw it away.
No.
Right. Okay. Good for you. I'll come to that in a minute. The house may have had some alterations, but in such confined space, it's a tight squeeze, and tempers can flare quickly in there. Producers sent 14 new wannabes in on launch night during BB7 2 years ago, including eventual winner Tourette's sufferer Pete Bennett. So that was 2 years ago. Well, what happened last year then? No idea. This is the television event of the summer, and no one's got a clue. Not even anybody listening at home. This year presenter Davina McCall, 40, will unveil isn't she looking fantastic? Will unveil the new 16 housemates in a 2-hour Channel 4 extravaganza on June the 5th. The show will run for 13 weeks, and already leaks have been started about what's in store. Builders have reported that a wet room has been installed, meaning, and unfortunately that's where I ripped the story in half, so we'll never know.
Oh, no.
I think, from memory, it was something of the order that, because it's a wet room now, and you don't need to enclose the shower in a wet room, it means that the entire room is a shower, then nudity will abound, because they won't have any screens to hide behind. Won't that be exciting? Do keep in mind, though, that they still won't be able to show you anything, because it's on television. No, they won't even show you anything if you watch online. And there's also a child's bed going to be in there, which has sparked rumours of a housemate's son or daughter being invited to stay the night. Don't do it. Producers know a lot is riding on the success of Big Bruv 9. They suffered a backlash after replacing Celebrity Big Brother with BB Celebrity Hijack, whatever that is, following the controversial race row which had dogged last year's show. Now viewers eagerly awaiting a new series of Big Brother, Channel 4 have said, we've taken a lot of time and effort to ensure the new series reaches expectations. The Spy added the final lineup will be selected in the next few weeks. We can stop this now. We have the power to stop this. Just don't watch it. And they won't make it anymore. They'll have to make, an actual programme. And there was a pretty stern a demolition of this kind of television by a chap who used to make not exactly that kind of television, but television that sort of started this whole reality show format. And here's a chap called Paul Watson. I'll get to that in just a moment. First, it's Beckenham. Hello, Jim.
Hi, good evening, Nick.
Jim.
Oh, yeah. You were talking about Big Brother. Who won it? I think it was Samantha. The twins, Samantha and Amanda.
I've never heard of them.
It was between Brian and Samantha and Amanda in the final, but they were counted as one person because they were so boring that they had to add the two of them together to make... Although I liked them, they were young and frivolous and flighty, but quite thick.
And have never been heard of since?
No, they've had a very low profile ever since.
Samantha,
that's what they were known as. I was one of the biggest Big Brother fans ever going, but in the last series, the last two series, I started to wean myself off.
Yeah.
In the last one, I just gave up on it completely.
Right.
I won't be watching it again.
No, it can be done. And you know how you wean yourself off it? You know how you save your summer?
Yeah, you listen to LBC.
Well, yeah, but don't watch the first one. If you don't watch the first one, then you need never watch any of them. If you watch the first one, Jim, you will, like I was one year, stuck watching it every bloomin' day, all summer long.
But I was phoning up about boxing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a big boxing fan, a very big boxing fan. I did watch the Kawasaki fight as well. I stay up all night to watch the big fights. I'm not a thick yobbo. I know that boxing is indefensible. And having listened to what you said, and 75% of them with brain damage.
Yeah, I had no idea, but that's quite a significant number, isn't it? That's pretty much all of them.
Yeah, it is indefensible, and I know all the old boxers, they're all punch drunk, and they all show signs of brain damage. But human nature being what it is, we all have a violent streak in us, and we love to see two very skillful men. I don't like to see a one-sided fight where somebody gets slaughtered. I like to see a skillful fight, like Kawasaki and Hopkins. It was a brilliant fight.
But it's not just even that, really. I mean, and you touched on it there, we're all basically cavemen at heart, and we just like to see violence. I mean, look at the poster for any film. If it's not specifically directed at women, there'll be a gun in the poster. What this says is, don't worry, lads, people won't be sitting around talking about their feelings. They'll be shooting each other in the face.
But human nature is human nature, and you can't get away from it. You know, we're all human beings, and we can't. The do-gooders and the politically correct brigade, they deny their real self. They try to make out that black is white and white is black. But the fact is, we're all grey, and we all suffer from the same weakness.
Well, yes, I suppose so. But this thin veneer of civilization that we paint over ourselves is what's supposed to prevent us from liking this kind of thing. We're trying to damp down the caveman within. Jim, thanks very much for the call, but I've got to go because here comes the news. Thanks very much. All right. This is LBC 97.3. I'm Nick Abbott. I'll go away and come back again.
We will buy your car.
See, Listener Club. That's all there is to it.
Absolutely.
And I don't know about you, but I am fascinated by this mayoral race and horrified in equal measure. Because I just think, is that our choice? And like I said before, every now and again I think, aha, I'll vote for you. You're the chap, you just said something smart. And I made my mind up now. And then the very next day you'll read something else that they said, you think, oh, blimey, why'd you have to go and blow it? I just made a decision. And so it is going to come down to now, I forgot what the phrase is again. What's the phrase? When you vote for somebody, the tactical voting, that's the fella. Tactical voting. I'll have to vote for the person who's most likely to deny the person that I least like the job. That's not a very positive way around. That's not democracy, really, is it? The least worst option. What do you reckon, Rog? Couldn't care less. You're a politics student. You're going to vote?
Possibly.
You won't, will you? You've never voted in your life. But you're not old enough to vote yet, are you?
No, still I've got to wait about 7 years.
Yeah. 0845 6060 973 if you want to talk about anything that we've talked about so far. The list must be very long, including reality television, boxing. I've talked about... what else have I talked about? Oh, yeah, the wheelie bin man, the council, not working for us working for them, and many and various things in between. I'm not going to say, right, you must talk about this now. Like, it's a conversation. Just join in when you like. 0845 6060 973. Or about anything else that you like. Don't just say, just wait for me to stop speaking, because I can't. Don't think that you're interrupting me. Please, interrupt me. Otherwise, I'll just have to continue talking for another 55 minutes. This was an article in the Daily Mail today about... No wonder the Daily Mail, by the way, sells so many copies of its newspaper, because it seems to be more in love with the art of the... they're almost like short stories, many of their pieces. They do the usual, isn't it shocking that, and isn't it outrageous that, and don't leave the house because, and you're going to die for the following reasons. But then they also have... columns is not quite the word for it. They have... like long pieces by, you know, decent writers. Something to get your teeth into, in other words. And they do it a lot. And it's not a paper that I would buy ordinarily. It doesn't sort of sit well with my politics. But I understand their popularity. It also still is the only newspaper whose ink doesn't come off on your hands. I mean, that's just so annoying, isn't it? It's 2008. And before I said that, I had to look at the newspaper to see what the date was.
What?
I know. I'm not the only person who does that, surely. Huh? Anyway, here's one of them. This is from a chap who knows what he's talking about, one of Britain's foremost TV directors. He invented reality TV with programmes such as The Family. Now, I didn't see that, but he also did Sylvania Waters. I didn't see that either. But you remember that? There was the thing in Australia with this, I don't know whether they were dysfunctional or not, but anyway, it's like fly-on-the-wall cameras in people's houses and how they live, that sort of thing. One of the first examples of reality TV. You with me? You listening?
I think these shows were before mine and Vicky's time.
Right. The Romans called it bread and circuses. Powerful senators staged mass slaughter as entertainment to pacify the baying mob. Their audiences decided who survived, with thumbs up or thumbs down. When I look at what is being called TV today, I wonder how close we are to the decadence of the fading Roman Empire, says Paul Watson. Where they had gladiators, we have sneering, bullying reality show judges. Where crowds once used their thumbs to indicate disapproval, we now have phone-in lines. It's actually not too far apart, really, is it? Trashy modern reality TV seeks merely to titillate, shock, and gain notoriety by brutalising and denigrating its subjects. This is the extent of its intellectual vigour. What now passes as reality TV is, of course, far from real. Such shows are as scripted and choreographed as any drama. Their participants are scarcely real either. They're there because they want to be on screen, have their 15 minutes of fame, and a lifetime of hell and regret afterwards. There's going to be a show shortly, you know it's coming, of whatever happened after. Taking the big brava celebrity contestants who enjoyed their limo rides after, shortly after they had come out of the house, but for whom fame dissipated like sugar in tea. Is there sugar in this tea? There is. Nodding doesn't work on the radio. Just a short note.
How was that tea, by the way?
Revolting. No, it was really nice. Thanks, Victoria. People signing up for reality TV think they can handle themselves on camera. The production assistants who convince these so-called volunteers to appear know better. They only have to wind them up and savour their angry outbursts. Take shows like Britain's Got Talent. A deluded performer stands up and sings a few notes until the judges hit the buzzers and pour scorn on this pathetic teenager or vulnerable old man. Have we seen this show?
I saw a bit of it.
Any good?
No, it's terrible. It's just they're basically whoever they decide has talent goes on and performs in front of the Queen at the Royal Variety Performance.
The Queen? What's she done to deserve that?
And they just have all sorts of people come on and they just dance and they sing and they try and... There was people who got their ferrets to dance, but they didn't dance, they just ran away.
I heard about that, yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
So it's more audition television. It's just being cruel to people who are auditioning, right? Which is what show business is like all the time. Show business is cruel enough as it is with the auditioning process, never mind about putting it on television. I mean, it actually comes as a stroke of genius. If you think about it, if you're trying to sell it as a TV format, say 10 years ago you went to a television executive and told him, auditions, yeah, we're going to put that's our TV show. And he'd be like, yes. Go on. He said, no, that's it. Get out. Your feet wouldn't touch the floor. Where am I? Pathetic teenagers, vulnerable old men being, having scorn heaped upon them. He should never have got past the first audition, he says. But the selectors knew that he would make everyone cringe, and the judges laugh, and we laugh along with them. Simon Cowell has made a fortune abusing and ridiculing people. Yes, it's slick and clever, and for a short while mildly entertaining. The nation laughs along with the hanging judges, but in effect, they and we do scant more than belittle people unable to defend themselves. I find that deeply offensive. The behaviour of the judges is a little better than that of the fashionable ladies touring Bedlam to titter at the mentally ill inmates. It's exactly like that. Most of the people on these shows are mentally ill. I mean, look at them. And they're selected because of their mental illness. It's not a lot of people don't really get this. The people that you see on, say, the X Factor, because that's a show I've seen, and it's extremely well put together, there's no doubt about it. These are very clever people making these shows. They don't just nail it together, off hat. They're really good at what they do. And what they do is they select people who are obviously insane, who have no grasp of reality, who are ill, who should maybe be in hospital or in a little rubber room somewhere. And they think, well, this bloke's off his mind, let's laugh at him. The people who get through aren't the ones that are good. The people who get through to the stage at which the television cameras are pointing at them have been selected from thousands of other people. Hundreds and hundreds of people have been rejected because they're normal. Only the lunatics get through, with a sprinkling of people who can actually sing. Because am I right? It's the part at the beginning, the auditions phase, that's the most entertaining. And despite yourself, you enjoy it because you're laughing at other people's misfortunes. It's basically what it is.
I was watching. I watched about 30 seconds of an American Idol, and within 5 seconds of this guy coming on and singing, I think they were just being nasty for the sake of being nasty, and then they started laughing at him. They're trying to stifle it. Then they said, "Oh, you're being weird when you're singing. Can you turn around, please?" So then he turns around, and then he kind of turns back as if to start his song again. They go, no, just turn around. And they kept laughing at him. And it's just like, why are you putting yourself through this?
They must have to sign a pretty strong waiver, particularly in America, because looking at themselves back on TV, none of these people are aware, I'm certain, that they're being ridiculed like this. They think they're good. This'll be the first time they've ever been told otherwise. I can't believe that this show hasn't been sued out the water yet.
But this guy they were trying to tell to turn around, he wasn't a bad... Well, I wouldn't have thought he was the worst singer there. I think they were just trying to humiliate him because they needed some of that clips like that in the show.
Yeah. And you know whose fault it is? Our fault. Yes, it's our fault. If we didn't watch this stuff, they wouldn't make it. I absolutely guarantee it. If you don't watch Big Brother, they won't make it anymore. In fact, they'll stop the series after the second week if nobody watches it.
And leave the housemates in there.
Who cares? Let's come back to this in just a moment. It's 9:15. LBC Travel with Karen Mercer.
In Brixton, the A23 still...
We have a how low auction running at the moment. It's for an HP laptop, top of the range, a 1 gigabyte Intel Celeron processor, 120 gigabyte hard drive. It's got the lot, wireless capability, a webcam on it, and a DVD RW drive, so you can play CDs and DVDs on it. It's a pewter that you can carry around, and it's a reverse auction, so it's the person with the lowest unique bid wins. You could win it for literally pennies. To bid, text LBC plus your bid in pence to 88821. If it was a bid of, let's say, 68 pence, you would text LBC 68 to 88821. Bids cost £1.50 plus your standard network rate. Lines closed 7pm, Wednesday the 23rd of April. Bidders must be over 16. lbc.co.uk for full terms and conditions. Good luck. Now, where was I? Oh, yeah. The number, by the way, if you want to, join in, 0845 6060 973. 0845 6060 973. Victoria's in there. Desperate. Got nothing to do. Just waiting to pick up a call. Just keep her company. Anyway, this is Paul Watson, the chap who really invented fly-on-the-wall documentaries. He started reality television in this country. He's talking about the state of television at the moment. He said that the behaviour of the judges, little better than that of fashionable ladies touring Bedlam to titter at the mentally ill inmates. And, I do feel guilty when I watch that stuff. I don't come out of it feeling very positive about myself, because I'm laughing at the mentally ill just like everybody else is. And it doesn't sit very well with me, which is one of the reasons I've tried to wean myself off all of that rubbish television.
Some of it can be funny, but it depends on the level of patheticness displayed by the auditionee.
Yes, but I'm acutely aware that almost in every instance they don't know they're being weird, rubbish, bizarre, whatever. They've got no idea. They think in their minds they're hearing a full orchestral backing and they sound like Shirley Bassey, as opposed to a ferry docking. More worryingly, Britain's Got Talent and the likes are broadcast at a prime family viewing time, posing the question, so what sort of example are we setting to children? The answer, that bullying weak people is acceptable and fun. I'd never really thought about that, but that's exactly what we're saying. I mean, for a government that's obsessed with giving the right message, there's some pretty horrible messages being given out in the form of entertainment virtually on a daily basis. As a viewer, I feel dirty and shabby watching such shows. Says Paul Watson. So do I. Take Wife Swap, in which couples from completely different backgrounds and with contrasting temperaments are filmed while changing partners for a fortnight. It follows the same fake format every time. Extremes are pitted against each other. A beautiful woman against a dull woman whose husband is a bit podgy. The producers wait for someone to slip up so we can all snigger. The show builds up the tension to the shootout at the end, when the couples take it out on each other in a completely phony way. It's like Victorian melodrama, but at least the Victorians gave their plays a moral context. Makeover shows, such as What Not to Wear and Extreme Makeover, are another example of debasing filmmaking and they glory in people's pain and sometimes disfigurement. Have you seen any of that?
I remember, I think, one of them where these two women, I think it might have been What Not to Wear, and these women aren't just doling out fashion advice, they're now trying to counsel these women as well. And they talk through their divorce and stuff on air, and you think, this is ridiculous. And I was getting so angry at the screen.
What, those two ditzy women?
Susanna,
yeah, right.
And
who, by the way, every time I've seen them photographed in the press, dress like they got dressed in a jumble shop in the dark. That they have a show telling people how to dress is incredible. Isn't that right, Victoria? You watch that rubbish? I bet you do.
I am the worst fan of reality TV. I do like a lot of...
I'm surprised that you say that. I would have thought you'd have been above all of that.
I was quite distressed when I missed the first episode of Britain's Got Talent.
Now, this Gok Wan, or Whack Gon, or whatever his name is, he teaches people how to be naked or something? What is that show?
I don't know.
It's called How to Look Good Naked.
Yeah. Well, what does it mean, how to look good naked? I don't really understand the concept. What is it?
Well, it's women who feel like they're sort of frumpy housewives and feel really unattractive, and he makes them feel confident, and in the end they do a catwalk in their underwear or appear in a nude calendar or something to make them feel confident naked. so they feel confident about their body image without having to change or diet or do anything like that just to make them feel sexy and happy.
But everybody feels uncomfortable when they're naked, particularly in public, don't they? I mean, that's part of the taboo of nakedness. It's you just know it's wrong.
Well, he's not trying to say they have to do it on a regular basis, but once they've overcome that hurdle, then, because there are often women who don't even feel comfortable in the company of their husbands or whatever, and just generally dress really frumpily and unhappily, and it gives them confidence. I think it's good.
Like when you back out of a room so they don't see your wobbly bottom. Hands up who's done that. Oh, everybody. Makeover shows such as What Not to Wear and Extreme Makeover are another example of debasing filmmaking, and they glory in people's pain and sometimes disfigurement. A husband may have told his wife she's not up to much. She'll answer an ad in the paper, inviting people to appear on such programmes, and she falls for the ludicrous promises. She thinks she's ugly and needs to look better. We're back in the amphitheatre. It's nasty bullying, albeit in a sophisticated form. Yet the participants stand there at the end saying they look like princesses. Once the producers walk out of their lives, they return to Earth, doubtless with a very painful crash. The film crew moves on to the next mug to make the next show. Then take Big Brother. Thankfully, its ratings are now beginning to fall as the public starts to tire of it. And I wonder what, I mean, it's, as far as ratings go, it's always the next one that's most important. Doesn't matter whether you're looking at the one, at the book that's just come out, it's always the next one that's the most important. That's the tiring thing about ratings. It just never stops. But the ratings for the next Big Brother are the most important. Because the last one, not that great. And then they did that celebrity thing, whatever that was, and no one watched that. That must have been so disappointing for the people that were in there. Celebrity Hijack, whatever that thing was. And they came out, and they must have thought, wow, I'll be able, the velvet rope will part for me. And when they appeared at the house, it was like, who? What? Oh, never heard of you. What? Who? So, if we all work together as a team, we could stop this show in its tracks. We actually have the power to do that. Big Brother is the ultimate example of sneer television, he says. Yes, if you put a homophobe and a gay man together, then you have great television, right? Is that really the best that young filmmakers can come up with? But of course they're not in control. It's the suits, interested in money and the ratings, who run things. Recently a young man starting in filmmaking, asked me how I got arguments into my films. He was working with a format reality show and had been told that it had to have fights. It was as if cultivating conflict was part of the filmmaker's craft. All this now, where would you say that this started? Because it hadn't occurred to me where all this actually came from. And it's from a place who has been almost given saintly status.
Isn't it Amsterdam or Holland?
No. I mean back in time in British television, where reality first started, where people were abused for our pleasure on television. This is where he thinks it is.
Was it something like Searching for a Star?
No, it's a bit more left field than that. And if I'd sat in a room and thought, and from now till next Christmas, I wouldn't have come up with this. But he says all this started with shows like Esther Ranson's That's Life, where children said silly things and gas board officials were mocked. It was fairly gentle stuff, but nonetheless it was bullying and hectoring under the guise of public service TV. Over time we became more and more inured to sneer TV, so instead of gentle sneering, let's have some unpleasant sneering. And that's about where we are right now, right? And the irony is that as well as an army of people wanting to work in television, there's also an army of people wanting to get on television. Because their lives are so boring and meaningless, a fleeting appearance on the small screen is the only way they can validate themselves. Could we perhaps see people required to die on TV for our entertainment? Well, it's not such a stretch. In fact, they had that just recently. Didn't they? Well, they said that they were going to film somebody dying, and then it comes to find out that they weren't actually dead when they said they were. So, the forces of law had to go in and actually kill him, just to make sure, because they'd promised. Even as I write, he says, someone somewhere is in a basement meeting considering the possibility. Every time a show becomes boring, producers feel the need to seek something more extreme. Next time we need to do more than something that merely puts people's self-respect into jeopardy. We will need to put their lives into jeopardy. In the Roman amphitheatre, the citizens demanded more and more extreme shows, and their masters provided it for them. And that, I'm afraid, is where we're heading to. I think he's absolutely right. It can't be too long before, well, where would you go? What's the next stage between now and death? Because we've had people... I mean, that Australian thing where people go out and eat insects and put their face into a bucket of snakes and whatever it is they do out there. That's dicing with death, isn't it? I mean, I would assume that there are safeguards, but it's the pretense of imminent death. That's what that show's about, right? So we're actually quite close, aren't we? I mean, you put your hand into a bucket of poisonous insects. What's the difference between that and actually killing someone for real? All you need is someone who isn't a celebrity to do it. There you go. This is LBC 97.3. It's 9:29.
LBC
0845 6060 973 97.3 LBC 9:30.
He knows everything.
Here's Colin Hainault. Hello, Janet.
Oh, hello.
Janet.
Hi. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Janet.
Right. I just want to comment on Britain's Got Talent.
Oh, yeah.
I was distressed when I saw Donald on the stage.
Who's that?
He was singing one of Amy Winehouse's music, and I don't know if you saw that episode.
No, I didn't. I haven't watched any of it.
Well, he was clearly awful, but, you know, given, you know, what I saw of him, he did have certain limitations.
How do you mean? Are you being polite?
Well, I think limitations in terms of perhaps slight LD, learning difficulties or something.
Right. Okay.
And I thought the programme, Britain's Got Talent, should embrace people of all types and variety.
But I think the key should be that they have talent, though, right?
Well, so do the dogs have talents? Do you know what I mean? So if you are not an able-bodied person, you can have talent to your ability, isn't it, right?
Well, you can have talent to your ability, yeah, but I think there should be, the marker should be, do you have talent?
Yes. So anyway, if they did not want to mock this individual who has these limitations, then they shouldn't bring them on the TV.
Right.
It's almost like going into an arena, like the gladiators, and watching, you know, them fighting helpless people. And, you know, I sat and watched this guy, and the audience were heckling and laughing and jeering him to carry on. And the judges weren't really happy with his performance. And what shocked me most was this sweet Amanda. The venom on her face when she told this young man...
Who's this?
Amanda, the one who was married to Les Bez.
Right, is this another one of these celebrities who's defined by somebody that they used to have sex with and not what they've actually done themselves?
She's a judge.
Amanda Holden, right?
That's the one.
Right,
yeah.
And who is she?
She's one of the judges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody have any idea who she actually is?
I have no idea why she was there in the first place. I can understand Simon and the other guy, but why she's there, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But she had this venom on her face and told this poor guy that he was pants, and she said it was such venom. And I thought, why does she have to do that? Because I thought maybe because throughout the series, she only enjoys talents that makes her cry and weep. So she appears to be this... caring and, you know, wonderful person. I think it was for selfish reasons why she went on to that programme. She weren't really looking for talent. She just wanted to...
None of them are actually looking for talent. They're doing it because they're being paid a huge amount of money to do it, and it's, it's fairly easy money, really, isn't it?
It's a selfish thing. It's to elevate themselves.
But you know what? They wouldn't be doing it if we weren't watching it, Janet.
I know. To be honest, when I saw that, I just said, you know what, that's the end of Britain's Got Talent.
For you, okay.
Because I wanted to see talent in Britain, because it meant down-to-earth people from all walks of life. But they obviously weren't looking for people from all walks of life. I mean,
They're looking for people to laugh at. They're not actually looking for talent. They're looking for people to laugh at, yeah. It's another one of those shows. And you know what? The comments that they're giving to the people on stage, the reason why Simon Cowell is so popular and has made so much money is because he's saying the things that you actually want to say yourself, but can't in real life because you get a smack in the mouth. So
Well,
he's giving you free rein, really, to vicariously getting your kicks by him saying what you want to say.
Well, he should be the isolated one. I think it starts to turn into bad taste when everybody starts to do the copycat thing. You know, it doesn't suit her saying to the guy, "You're pants," and, you know, "You're rubbish," and, you know, that is him. We all know him to be that way. But all these people...
That doesn't make it any better.
It
But
doesn't
anyway,
make it any better.
you've made the right decision there, Janet.
I have.
From now on, you will not go.
I will
Okay.
not watch that program, and I will not watch any reality programs because I think it's demoralising people.
And it will make your brain soft. Well done. Thanks very much, Janet. 0845 6060 973. Don't you remember your dad saying that'll make you... Don't watch that, that'll make your brain soft? Don't you remember that? No? He never said that to you? Shaking their heads on radio. Can you believe it?
I think my dad already knew my brain was soft.
Hammersmith. Hello, Monica.
Oh, hi. I just want to comment on that other lady that was on the radio there, talking about Donald. You need to put into YouTube Donald, and it's so funny, really it is. But I think they were out of order to laugh at him like that, because the whole funny thing about it is that they asked him, "What are you here to do?" And he said, "I'm here to entertain myself." And then they asked him something like, "What are you going to do?" And he kept on saying, "I'm 20." Yeah, which was, you know, it's not funny.
But you said it was.
It was funny, yeah, but then he started singing, and then the judges totally started slating him, but the crowd were egging him on.
Right.
Keep on singing. He sang about 3 different songs, and he sang Leona Lewis's Bleeding Heart and all that, and that was a bit ironic. And it was just... He was fantastic because he was so bad, but at the same time, you can see that he did have learning difficulties, and he was a bit autistic, and at the same time, we wasn't laughing... with him, we was laughing at him.
Right. Okay.
You see what I mean?
Yes, I do.
But
All right.
He's Got Talent's fantastic, though.
Okay, thanks, Monica.
Okay, thanks, bye.
Yeah, what we're getting here is that it's about... It's actually, in this PC time that we're living in, it's one of the few occasions that it's acceptable now to laugh at people who are, who are sort of mentally disadvantaged, to put it in that... Can you think of a better way to put it? You can't do it outside of television anymore. And so what we're getting is a lot of that on television. Because it's like the last bastion of pointing and laughing. It doesn't really make you feel very good about yourself watching it, does it? Well, you're the expert, Victoria.
I'd like to... No, I can't really justify watching it because it is a bit... I suppose I also enjoy it when people are good and when I'm not laughing, because there are cynical people who only watch it to laugh at the bad people and don't appreciate the good people. I like the whole programme as a package.
Right.
But no, I do acknowledge that it is laughing at people in an unfair way.
Yeah.
But it won't stop me from watching it.
Right. Yes, well, I mean, having said that, I have enjoyed it in the past, and you do always laugh at the... What's astonishing is how many people have no contact with reality. There's so many of them out there. Don't you find that a bit shocking? It's just one after the next. And they're all voting. Worse than that, they're all having children.
But I think half of that is just they want their 15 minutes, and they probably... make it more of an act than it is.
No, I don't think so. I don't think that any of those people are actually acting. I think they're they really believe that they are quite fantastic, and are stunned when they're told that they're not. I find that a bit disturbing. That there's actually a mental health problem in this country that's way beyond anything that anybody has previously assumed. Either that or the makers of this programme are trawling the streets night and day for people who are out of touch with reality. Because if they're just picking at random the people that come in, then I think it's a bit disturbing how many people are a bit crazy. Well, not just a bit. I mean, you'd have to be some sort of a special kind of crazy to go on a television programme that's going to be broadcast to the nation when you can't sing a note, and then and get up and extemporise for our pleasure.
But surely, as well as it being our fault for watching it, it's the TV producer's fault for watching it, because back when there was some sort of quality control, these people wouldn't have got on TV, and now they're giving them access to the limelight, which is why they turn up in their droves.
I suppose in a way that it's actually a reflection of what's happened in magazines as well, because magazines used to be all about the beautiful people, great photographs of beautiful people. That's what, OK magazine. When it started, it was, welcome you into my wonderful home that I've just polished from top to toe. I've put all my knickknacks away and we've had a good sweep, and now you can come in with your photographers and everything will look fabulous. And that was in a more... I mean, that wasn't a very long time ago, but it was in a more deferential age. Hard to really comprehend how quickly things have changed. Because all of that, does OK actually sell any magazines anymore? Because they've been totally overtaken by a tide of just the most appalling treatment to the very same people that they used to lionise. It's become debased. We're not on the pavement anymore. We've dived headfirst into the gutter and we're wallowing around in it. We're loving it. And that's kind of a reflection of what's happened in the television as well. People used to get on shows like that who were actually talented. Now it's just the more lunatic you are, the better chance you have of getting on. Same with Big Brother.
But I think also the other reason that they get so many viewers to these things and why they've put these people on TV is because they know that on the internet, on things like YouTube or these video sites, people upload videos of them doing something crazy, and suddenly, one hit of them will become, really famous. They'll be in the papers. So a lot of people watch the videos, and the TV production companies are thinking, we can capitalise on this, and instead of having these people watching the internet videos, we could have them watching our programme of the same sort of material.
Right.
But just not on the internet.
Yeah, in fact, I think somebody's put together a programme that's exactly like that. All those crazy videos that people have uploaded onto YouTube is now being presented as a compilation show on the television. They've actually done that. Wallington, hello, Dev.
Oh, hello there, Nick. Hi.
How you going?
Yeah, I feel a bit cheap now because your producer asked me to hold the line and I said, can you call me back? So, sorry if I sounded cheap.
No, that's all right. That's what we do. We call you back.
I thought that's what usually it was, because a few times I've phoned Clive Bull, I've been called back and he was talking about Murder, She Wrote the day before yesterday. But I didn't call in because I don't think he usually thinks very highly of me, so I refrained from calling.
All right. Well, let's see how I feel about you. Go on. I'm doing great, mate.
No, I was just phoning about the Britain's Got Talent.
Yeah.
And a few things I've noticed. Number one, I think Amanda Holden's very emotionally fragile. She seems to burst into tears whenever anyone has a good... She'd be terrible on the X Factor, because whenever anyone has a good voice or is under 18 or slightly overweight, she just bursts into tears.
And who is she again?
I really don't know. She's
Right.
apparently starred in some TV shows that I've never heard of.
Okay.
And she also was jogging, training for the London Marathon, and she found a dead body.
What?
I think she was training for some marathon. It was in quite a few of the papers, and she was giving a day-by-day diary. But I'm still not sure what she's famous for.
And she found a dead body?
Yeah, it was on page 27, and it just said, Amanda Holden out jogging, exercise, stretches, and she found a dead body. And she went, I was a bit shaken up, you know?
Right, well, I hate when that happens.
No, I know, I can't stand it. But I think this Britain's Got Talent, with a lot of the acts, as long as they have a good sub-story, even if they're appalling, they're put through. I don't know if you saw that last woman on the last show.
I haven't seen any of it.
Oh, no, that's good. Don't watch it. It's not good.
I've made that decision.
And she had a terrible voice, and she did a whole 15 minutes saying how she had two daughters who she'd left in another country, and she was singing for them. And you think that if the producers have let her tell that story, then they're not going to end with her being booed off.
Yes, quite.
You can tell from the beginning, and there was another act of two magicians, Paul and Debbie, and he put her in a box and set fire to the box, and she came out unscathed.
It was a domestic, was it? Oh, that was part of the act. I see.
That's part of the act,
right.
Yeah. And she came out of the box, and all Simon said was, "Oh, yeah, not bad. You're all right,
Was it putting on a Newcastle voice at the time? Right, okay.
But, no, I mean it's good viewing, but it's I don't know if you saw extras with Ricky
Gervais, yeah.
He did a good summary at the end where he was in a make-believe Big Brother house, and he gave a good monologue on this culture of...
Yeah, I do remember that, yeah.
I thought it was quite powerful drama from...
I thought it was quite good. In much the same way as, I wonder if you remember the end of Absolutely Fabulous, when Davina? Whatever her name was. Edwina, whatever her name was, yeah. The main character in Ab Fab, she went to, like, a PR awards ceremony, and she stood up drunk, and basically in a speech of a couple of minutes, ripped apart society, I suppose, because if there's anything that drives society these days, it's public relations. And that was one of the greatest speeches I think I've ever seen on television, delivered drunk and stoned by the character in Absolutely Fabulous. You weren't expecting it. Dev, thanks very much, mate. Okay. Cheers. Thanks for that. 0845 6060 973. In fact, that should be on YouTube. I'm going to look it up when I get home. 9:46. LBC Travel with Karen Mercer.
Well, there's still the...
Come on, we're running late!
Here's Colin Bow. Hello, Anita.
Hello, Nick.
Anita, I'm very well, thanks.
No, I just thought in relation to Britain Got Talent. Actually, it's Shakespeare's birthday tomorrow, and I think that's the talent that television and radio and whatever should discuss. And still, we are spending an hour discussing people who have no any merits or talents or whatever.
It's Shakespeare's birthday. Do we know that for a fact?
Sorry?
Are we absolutely certain about that? Shakespeare's birthday.
It's Shakespeare's birthday, and last Sunday it was a wonderful event at Globe, and I was very happy seeing people with kids. So,
in fact, there's quite a few things that are happening tomorrow, isn't it? Isn't it St. George's Day tomorrow?
Yeah, also, yeah.
And isn't it also Earth Day?
Maybe, I don't know. No, just talking about culture and talent of Britain.
Yeah.
I just thought that maybe that's what we should talk about.
Baptised the 26th of April, 1564, lived until the 23rd of April, 1666, or 1616, rather.
He's actually 444, if I'm not mistaken.
He what, sorry?
He's 444 now.
He's 444 years old. Yeah, that's right. Happy birthday,
sure.
Will. Yes.
No, it just seemed that parents now should kind of...
Oh, and there she went. We'll never know. Hey, Anita, you got a bad line, but thanks very much. All right.
Oh, okay. Bye.
Cheers, my dear. It's all right. So it's Shakespeare's birthday tomorrow. The thing with Shakespeare is that reading his plays, they're so fascinating.
Boring!
By which I mean really, really dull. Who could possibly get through them? I mean, so painful. You'd have to have a gun pointed at you to actually pick up one of those books, wouldn't you? Nobody reads Shakespeare anymore, by which I mean at all, do they?
I think I had to read extracts of it for an English GCSE.
Exactly. It's punishment. Because you've got no idea what he's talking about. And if you have to read a book, and every time you read another line, there's a little footnote, and you have to stop reading the text and then read the footnote, well, it's just too painful, isn't it? Who can be bothered with all of that? Neither can I watch them on film, either. All of that, thee, thou, thus, and all of that, it's just too painful. So it's St. George's Day tomorrow, and what are we going to do to celebrate it? Anybody doing anything to celebrate St. George's Day tomorrow? Anything at all? 0845 6060 973. One tiny little thing? Nothing? No one? 0845 6060 973. Is anybody doing anything to celebrate St George's Day tomorrow, because we do no end of stuff to celebrate St Patrick's Day. The streets are closed, the rivers are turned green, everyone's wearing one of those stupid Guinness felt hats. It's the big excuse for a party, St Patrick's Day. Why? Actually, that's a good question. Why? Why St Patrick's Day? What's the big deal about St Patrick's Day? Is it a Guinness promotional tool? Is it all about them? Is that what that is? In much the same way that Santa Claus is dressed like that because of Coca-Cola. I just don't believe that everybody's... that nations all over the world are so in love with the Irish people that we want to celebrate their patron saint. That's just daft. How come St George's Day just goes by without a whisper? In fact, there is attached to St George's Day and our flag the hint of racism. If you celebrate St George's Day, you're a Nazi. It's kind of like that, isn't it? If you fly the flag outside of your window, the red cross, on the white background, then there must be something mentally wrong with you. That's kind of the assumption, isn't it? It's ludicrous. What a bizarre country this is. Here's a celebrator. A celebratee. Islington. Gladys.
Hello.
Hi, Gladys.
Yes, this is Gladys from Islington.
Gladys.
I, along with several of my neighbours, have got our big St George's flags out.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to celebrate tomorrow, after the rain.
By doing what?
Just out in front, having a drink, and just celebrating St George's Day.
What, you're going to be drinking in the street?
We have a patio in the front of the house.
Oh, a patio. Oh, get you with your fancy Islington patio.
Yes, we're fancy Islington people. But we've all got our flags out, and we're not racist.
Right.
We're just St George's Day.
Well, that's nice, Gladys. Good for you.
Nothing to do with racism.
Well, no, of course it isn't. And is
we
any of...
celebrate St Patrick's Day. One of our neighbours are Irish, so we celebrate them.
Right.
So we're doing St George's Day.
Right. And is there much joining in from your neighbours?
Most of them, yes. There's
Really?
some that isn't, but some that aren't. But most of them are, yes.
Are you setting out tables and having cake and, you know...
No, I don't know about that. But we'll all come to the front of the house and have a little drink and...
Stick to the booze.
Yes.
Okay.
That's okay, isn't it?
I think so, Gladys,
Thank
yes.
you. Thank you for your blessing.
All right,
Thank
cheers,
you.
my dear.
Bye-bye now.
Just don't tell the council. There'll be a fine involved. Barnet. Hello, Maz.
Hello, Nick.
Maz.
I've got my flag up as well. I actually have my flag and my Union Jack in my back garden all year round. But already this evening, I'm not crazy. I just think it's really nice. I mean, I've just put one in my front window, my St George's Day flag, and I do it every year.
When you say it's in your garden,
my back garden.
how do you mean?
I have it flying. I've got on a sticks in my garden all year round.
You got a flagpole?
A mini one.
Right.
It's not flying high up, but everybody can see it. And I just think because we're losing all our traditions and things in this country, and yeah, everybody seems to moan, oh, we're losing this, we're losing that. But with the English people, they're so lazy, they moan, but they don't ever do anything about it.
I think we enjoy the moaning.
Yeah, they just moan about everything, and everyone says, oh, you know, they laugh at me, they think I'm really funny, it's a bit extreme, but really, they won't do this. Oh, no, you'll get into trouble. But no, I just think it's nice to hold with some tradition. Be a little bit proud of the country. We're losing all our lovely traditions.
I don't know about you, but I don't think of myself as madly patriotic, but when England football team is up on the very seldom occasions when we've actually got a chance in a major competition, and people start bringing the flag out, and on every white van in the land, a little flag is fluttering from their window. It makes my little heart sore.
I know, I love it as well. I must admit, I love it. My son's at university. My husband blames all this on me. And when you enter the university, and he's on campus this year, and he's on the third floor, and he's got a massive big Union Jack. Everybody sees the Union Jack in his window.
I bet that doesn't go down very well with the NUS.
Well, you know, they have good debates about it.
Yeah, I bet they do, yeah.
And we do have freedom of speech, apparently.
Apparently, yeah. That's why I read that somewhere, yeah. All right, well, good for you. Thanks very much, Maz. All right, cheers. Thanks for that. So it is St George's Day tomorrow, so we'll discuss that in full, no doubt. You can tell me what it is that you're going to be doing then. But right now, it's Raj's little party piece. What have we been talking about tonight, then, eh?
We spoke about the fight against evil, rubbish collections, our dignity, which is apparently amongst the rubbish collections, criminal records, bin police, victim surcharges, failing to pay fines, extra syllables in words, tactical voting, attacking the NHS, dogs in the bedrooms, kennels, pebble dashed.
In fact, that was a hit for got dogs in the bedrooms. What am I going to do? Who was that? That was UB40. Yes.
Waste minimisation agenda, country dogs, law-abiding fine payers, being a minority, Russell Brand, boxing, celeb boxing fans, brain damage, Big Brother, untouched newspapers, hot-headed housemates, Harry Hill, next, fast fashion, Davina McCall.
Oh, Clive's next, LBC.
Yes, it's